2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome into it. Hey, happy Friday. It is Friday and Friday the 13th. I think that's pretty awesome. We got a lot to talk about today, man. Plenty to get to. Bottom of the hour, Drew Thomas Allen will be on the program. For Christ and Country is his latest book. We'll talk about some of the latest current events, things out of Washington, D.C., the filibuster, and so much more. Also, we're going to talk about the different distinctions that we're seeing among different Democrats right now as they move through election season and midterm. So that being said, yeah, plenty to get to. Make sure to like it out, share it out, leave that comment, break the algorithm. Let's do this thing. Hang tight. Here we go.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your Friday. You finally made it to the end of the week, and it is a special Friday. It's not just a Friday. It is Friday the 13th. Happy Triskaidectophobia Day. That would actually be like the fear of the number 13, but you get my point. I don't know the actual name of the fear of Friday the 13th outside of the movie itself, but happy Friday the 13th. Happy Triskaidectophobia. Yes, I said it, and I'll say it again. Happy Triskaidectophobia Day. Say that 3 times fast. Plenty to get to today. Welcome into it. It is the Voice of Reason. My name is Andy Hooser, broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station. But we are all over the country with so many great radio affiliates doing our thing.
Do it live!
Like we do every single day here on the program. Were you aware, by the way, not only that it was Friday the 13th, but the reasoning behind Friday the 13th? It always gets the weird the weird superstitions about how bad the holiday is and how scary it is, and it's Halloween-y, and I never understood why. I was born on Thursday the 13th of October. I almost was a Friday the 13th baby in October, which to some people, man, that would have been really, really scary. They would have lost their minds over that one. Yeah, they would have gotten mad. But nonetheless, I did not. That was a Thursday the 13th, so just one day off on that one. But I actually did a little bit of research on why we have either a holiday or a fear of Friday the 13th. And apparently it's like a religious thing. Did not know that one. So according to the rumors, this from the Daily Mail today, this kind of popped up on the headlines today, which I found quite fascinating. Apparently, the reason that we have a fear of Friday the 13th is because they tried to tie in the numbers and the superstition of when Judas betrayed Jesus back in the day. According to the Daily Mail, they say that Judas was the 13th disciple, which I don't know I don't know. Apparently, Jesus ordered them, you're number 1, you're number 2, number 3. Judas was apparently number 13, and it was on a Friday when he betrayed Jesus by turning him over to the Romans for the trial and then for the crucifixion that weekend. So I guess it happened on a quote-unquote Friday, and he was the 13th disciple. Does that win anybody over? I don't know. kind of interesting. And then apparently back in 1307, Friday the 13th was the day when King Philip IV, along with the France, by the way, King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V had orchestrated the betrayal of the Knights Templar back in the day when they kicked them out of the church and ended up persecuting and killing off and torturing a lot of the Knights Templar. That happened on a Friday the 13th. And between those two dates, that's why apparently everybody's super scared of Friday the 13th, and it's supposed to be a bad omen or bad luck. I don't really care. I find it kind of intriguing. I enjoy it. So happy Triskaidekaphobia Day on that front. All right, enough of that. Welcome into the show. HooserReason.com if you want to check out the website. You can see us in where we're at right now at HooserReason.com, HOOSER Reason.com. Bottom of the hour, Drew Thomas Allen, author of the book For Christ and Country and host of the Drew Allen Show podcast. He'll be joining us at the bottom to chat about some of the latest current events. Will we see an end to the filibuster? And I made a mistake yesterday. I know it never happens on this show, so I'm terribly sorry. I never make any mistakes ever whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. But I made a mistake yesterday in talking about the filibuster and the vote of the SAVE Act now that it's being moved over to the Senate. Could we actually see the pushing of the SAVE Act in some fashion? We'll get to that in just a moment. But big news today. I don't know if you're aware.
What's trending today?
Yeah, big news today. Apparently inflation numbers came out for the month of January. And boy, oh boy, are we seeing some good numbers. 2.4% inflation, the lowest that we have seen for the beginning of the year since March of 2021. That is very good. Not only is that good news in the fact that we've slowed down inflation, but the fact that the last time the inflation was this low was essentially still the Donald Trump economy. You got to remember, Joe Biden took office January of 2021, which means his policies have not taken effect whatsoever. So we had low inflation in January, February, and March of 2021. By the time Joe Biden started repealing much of the executive orders and the policies from Trump Admin 1.0, that's when we started seeing some inflation go up, and we started seeing the economy go bad, and we saw gas prices go up, and we saw all the disaster that we went through that led to an overall cumulative inflation rate of 30% over the 4-year period for the Joe Biden administration. Now, we're not going to get that back. Just want to be very clear. We're not going to see that go back down over inflation in general. We can just slow the growth. Negative inflation, or deflation, I guess, according to economists, would be really bad for the economy. I would think bringing prices back down to what they were pre-COVID levels would be a good thing, but according to them, if we have deflation in the country, that's really bad. So just slowing the growth of the amount of inflation is where we're at, and that's where we are right now, so that's a way to kick off the year. So well done on that front. We continue to what? Winning. Every day, so that's good news. However, doesn't seem to slow down the Democrats as they continue to talk about their talking points for the midterms of 2026. That is the affordability thing, which they really haven't discussed lately because affordability is not really a key hot point now that Donald Trump has solved much of the economic issue right now as the inflation is relatively low. Job growth still really not where we want it to be, but hey, baby steps at a time and we're getting there overall. But there are two different approaches that Democrats are taking, and this is why we know that the fracture is happening within the Democrat Party. Because we have the radical socialist left-wing nutjob sector, the AOCs of the world.
I am told this is a garbage disposal.
And then we have some that are trying to play the middle of the road and trying to play the factions. Now, this is either setting us up for midterms of 2026 or the presidential races of 2028. Because the two candidates right now, AOC and Gavin Newsom, who knows what they're going to... Well, we know Gavin Newsom, he's looking for the presidency at 28, but AOC, still kind of a wild card. Is she going to topple Chuck Schumer in the midterms? Is she going to, I guess that would be in 28 as well. Is she going to run for the Senate? Is she going to go for the presidency? What's her scoop? But there are two different factions still within the Democrat Party. They haven't quite figured out how to go kosher and work together. And that's where we start off our What's Trending story of the day.
What's trending today?
Whereas the economy's finally getting back on track. The golden age of America that Donald Trump talks about, it's starting to peak. We're starting to at least see a glimmer of what we could look forward to throughout this year. And when that happens, Democrats find a way to say, hey, we got to screw things up.
We're all going to die because of you.
Because they don't want I know, they don't want the economy to look well under the Trump administration. They want it to be bad. And that's why another potential government shutdown We have not come to an agreement for the Department of Homeland Security. We're going to have 3-4% of the government in limbo by the end of today unless they figure out a deal. As far as I know, they haven't come to an agreement or a deal yet, which means we could see a government shutdown. Why? Because government shutdowns cost us money. Without the economy moving and apparently transactions and the middleman of the federal government, which shouldn't be the case, but that's the reality of the day today, that's going to cause the economy to be not as good as what potentially could be. Intentionally trying to screw up the Trump administration. So that way they can come back and say, Donald Trump's economy is not working the way it's supposed to. And that's their talking points. And that's their platform. So we have the shutdown. And then we have two different options for what they want to do to help screw up the economy on the private sector side. And for just a moment, I want to go to California. California is working on a bill right now, as a state legislature, that would put in a wealth tax for the rich and elite individuals. Because if you have a lot of wealth and you're part of the richie riches, then you're probably the worst person on the face of the earth. And that's why they want to put in a wealth tax. You need to pay your fair share, you need to redistribute, and so on and so forth. Gavin Newsom, kind of surprising, not very surprising, has come out in opposition to the bill when he was speaking at the World Economic Forum a few weeks ago and publicly on the global stage ended up opposing the bill.
A one-time wealth tax at a state level that almost exclusively goes to solve one problem, healthcare, and starves the rest of the general fund, that has had already the impact of people moving out of our state.
All right, so he's aware of that. And while he tries to hype up the fact that he's the 5th largest economy in the world and he's got all this great stuff going on, he realizes doing a wealth tax, taxing the rich and elite additionally just because you have a lot of money, is a very bad and very stupid idea. And that's why globally they've tried to put in a minimum tax so that way no matter what country a company tries to go to, they still have to pay the same rate, just a flat-based tax across the globe, just like they want to impose here in the United States. So you have Gavin Newsom in California opposing it, realizing there's not a standard across the nation, knowing the companies are moving to Florida, they're moving to Texas, they're moving to Middle America, where I'm at, here in Kansas and other places. They're moving to places where there's better tax incentives. And that's why at the federal level, you have AOCs and Chuck Schumers and those sorts that are trying to do it on a nationwide level, saying, no matter where you go, then we can tax you at the same rate, so that way you can't get away. You're not getting away from those high taxes, right? And then you got the fools out there in New York City that are supporters of the Zohran Mamdani that were out there screaming, and we played it on our weekend syndicated show this past weekend, where the guy was like, yeah, we should put in rules to force them to not be allowed to move out of the city when we impose really high taxes on these rich and elite people. They can't move the building, they can't move their workers, so they shouldn't be allowed to move. I don't know how these corporations leave at all, which I find really kind of stupid and kind of funny all at the same time, because my brain hurts trying to even process that type of mentality. Oh, yeah, it's real. You should look up some of these clips. It's kind of funny that you should ban businesses from being allowed to leave their community. Pass laws, forcing them. That's called communism, and that's a major step in the wrong direction. But until they can do that, Gavin Newsom trying to play the middle-of-the-road card, I'm relatable to everybody in the working class, and even the rich and elite that's going to fund him as the elites in California, that I want to oppose that type of bill. Now, on the radical side, you got AOC that just spoke recently this week at the UAW as they're working on contract negotiations in different parts of the country, that's talking about the greed and the evil wealthy and the evil rich people and so on and so forth, where she ended up getting people really riled up saying this.
We do not pledge allegiance to Wall Street, UAW. We don't pledge allegiance to greed. We pledge allegiance to no one president. We pledge allegiance to a nation, our nation, the United States of America, to the betterment of all people. Because when you organize UAW, when you strike, when you stand together for each other, you pour meaning into that flag. You make it mean something to everybody.
Yeah.
The stand-up strike showed us the way forward. UAW is showing us the way forward, and solidarity is the way forward. And as you all line up your contracts nationwide, May 1st, 2028 is the way forward, UAW.
So, getting the socialists all riled up at the UAW, very angry, very passionate, very angry. She thinks she's on the global stage right now. And I think she is really planning to make a move. And I don't know whether it's going to be over to the Senate side to take over Chuck Schumer's seat when he's really trying to play off his card of I have a lot of leverage and power still, using my political capital for another government shutdown that I don't know is going to really benefit them or go anywhere. I'm not sure what the plan is for him, but AOC sees an opportunity. She is like a shark in the water, and she smells blood, and she's going after. So either it's going to be Chuck Schumer challenging him in 2028 for the Senate seat, or it's going to be a presidential run. In which case, we would have a guy who's not moderate but pretends to be moderate to play along with the elites in California to fund him by pretending he's not against a wealth tax, or pretending he is against a wealth tax when he's really not. He wants it, but he's trying to play that card to be Mr. Moderate, like Gavin Newsom. And then you have AOC that just comes out full on and says, you're wealthy, you're greedy, we don't like you, we want to destroy your business by upending it with a bunch of union workers, and we're going to do that with some type of communist revolution. Which, reminder to her, only 8% of the workforce is actually part of a labor union right now. So she's pandering to a very small crowd, a very small demographic, because most people realize that they woke up and how dumb unions really are. But that's her movement, man. We'll see how far it goes. The two sides of the Democrat Party, let's see which one dukes it out and plays as we go further into election season. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, it is. Welcome back into the program. Great to have you here. 24 minutes past the hour. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, doing our thing like we do every week, especially on a Triskaidekaphobia Day, Friday the 13th. I know. You're going to get tired of hearing it. I just like saying the word. I'm sorry. I enjoy that one. So, as the economy begins to peak up here, the golden age of America, that's going to help the elections immensely for the Republicans going into this year. If Republican Congress can start codifying some of the Trump agenda and get more done than what they already have. And look, they've gotten a lot done behind the scenes. The media doesn't cover it, obviously. The sexiness of the big bills, sometimes not there. But the deregulation, we won't even notice a lot of the changes that they've done just by hearing about the bills. But when things start moving smoother and flowing better, and there's better flow because there's less obstacles in the way, we're going to be like, gee, what the heck's going on? So that is nice, and we are doing that. We'll try to showcase some of those as we go on through the program and throughout election season. But we have some work to do, man, and I'm excited for the direction that we're on. We just have to get her done. But the economy's doing well, and therefore then they start imposing wealth taxes in New York and in California. Unions try to screw up the normal process and all that. That's just a way to screw up the economy to show that Donald Trump's really bad and that he's not doing the right thing, right? Crazy. Want to tell you about my friends over at Lean. I've been taking it since the beginning of the year. I feel fantastic, and I want you to do so as well, as everybody's been talking about weight loss injections because the results have been, well, really dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar, reducing appetite. But what if you want to lose weight but not be interested in the painful weekly injections or be worried about some of the intense side effects? That's why doctors created the weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results have been pretty awesome. I've seen it myself. I feel great. I feel better. Already, like, my belts are loose. It's crazy in a month. We've studied the ingredients with Lean, and they've been shown to lower blood sugar, burn fat by converting it to energy, and curb your appetite and cravings, so that way you're just not as hungry all the time. But Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. Doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters that want to lose 10 pounds or more. And let's get you started today. Go to takelean.com, and use the promo code REASON, REASON. When you do, we'll get you started off with 20% off your purchase and free rush shipping, so that way you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan immediately. Go to takelean.com, enter the promo code REASON. Again, takelean.com, enter REASON for that promo code, get 20% off and rush shipping, and do it right now. All right, so I want to correct something on the program because I've never made a mistake ever.
Say what?
But it's actually a good mistake. So yesterday we made the comment that the bill has been passed through the House of Representatives on the SAVE Act, the voter ID. The Democrats are losing their minds about it's like Jim Crow laws 2.0 or whatever the hell they're saying about it, that we now have it punted over to the Senate and that they have to get that 60-vote threshold for the filibuster vote. And that apparently that's not the case. Now, I know these rules are kind of tricky, but there's difference between bills and procedural votes and whatever. Apparently they don't need a procedural vote, and the procedural vote is what you need for the 60-vote threshold for the filibuster in the Senate. With the SAVE Act, since it's an actual bill or something, I don't know, they don't need that, so they need a simple majority. This is really good news because Republicans have the majority. It may be slim with only 2 or 3 votes, but we have the majority. And this is going to be a test for Republicans to see whether we can actually get done what we said we were going to get done, codify the Trump agenda, and work towards ensuring voter ID is a nationwide thing that the Constitution tells us is the one stipulation for people in order to vote. Right now, as far as I've heard, they have, I want to say, 48 or 49 different co-sponsors on the Republican side, and they need to get above that 50 threshold. If they do, even at 50, then Vice President J.D. Vance can come in, he can sign it and vote for it to override the split 50-50, but I don't think that's going to be necessary. I don't know of any Republicans, although we have Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, some of these wackadoodles out there. I don't know of many of them that would actually put up a wall and fight against the SAVE Act because it's kind of common sense. And maybe we can win over a Democrat or two as well. Who knows? Chuck Schumer wouldn't like that, but how nice would that be? So let's get this SAVE Act passed, and let's do it as quick as we possibly can. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Earlier this week, the House of Representatives passed the SAVE Act. This is federal legislation that does some common sense, straightforward things. First of all, it requires a photo ID in order to vote in federal elections. It also requires proof of citizenship in order to register to vote. And it requires states to remove non-citizens from their voter rolls. These measures are extremely popular with American citizens. American people have common sense, and they want to see reforms like this put into their elections. In fact, a Gallup poll was recently released that shows 84% of Americans support a photo ID when they go to vote, that 83% support proving your citizenship when you go to register to vote.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And while we have overwhelming popularity for the SAVE Act and passed through the House of Representatives with one Democrat vote, we still have the Democrats out there saying it's Jim Crow laws 2.0, and it's just going to be so difficult for for women to vote. Let me see if I have the clip. I don't know if I have the clip right offhand here. I'll find it as we go to our next guest here on the program. As we go to our...
Let's go to the Hoosier Media Hotline.
That's right. Talk about some of this. Washington, D.C., some of the latest policy going into midterm election season and more. Happy to have back on the program author of the latest book for Christ and Country and host of the Drew Allen Show podcast, the man himself, Mr. Drew Thomas Allen. Drew, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Hey, Andy. Well, I'm just having a chuckle here because, you know, it's quite the feminist take that married women who can plan weddings and raise kids while simultaneously working full-time jobs are too stupid to pull a couple pieces of paper out of the drawer. I mean, if anything, I think the SAVE Act is saving women from the left's low expectations.
It's very true. You know, they've kind of tweaked it, and it's the same message that they've said before. But when we talked about voter ID, gosh, even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, their argument was that this was going to be voter suppression because minorities, black people, Hispanic people, are too poor and too stupid to get a state-issued ID in order to take that to a voting booth and show that ID to verify who they are. Like, if I were a minority in some fashion, wouldn't that be a little bit offensive to be like, hey, you think I'm not smart enough or rich enough to pay the $20 to get my state-issued ID that I use for everything else in life to go and take that to the voting booth with me? Like, that's kind of insane.
Well, right, and people on the right even said, okay, well, I'll tell you what, we will make them free for people, you know, who are supposedly too poor to get one, and they still were against it. And, you know, what they learned in the polling, of course, is that more than 70% of blacks in America support the SAVE Act, support these very requirements. And so, I mean, it's kind of clever, and it shows where the Democrat mentality is because, you know, in some ways they've claimed to, you know, they've kind of moved, blacks are kind of moving away from the Democrat Party, and they do seem to have, obviously, a hold on college-educated women, right?
Yeah.
That's their new constituency. So now they're just applying the same rhetoric, you know, to women. So now women are too stupid, and it's too inconvenient for them to, you know, prove their citizenship to vote. It's like, it's so crazy that, like, this is the party that people would support, a party that thinks their constituents are so stupid they can't comply like, what, I can or you can or my wife can?
Well, yeah, and I don't get it because we use it for everything else, right? If you have a marriage or a name change, a marriage or a divorce or anything else, you automatically change it anyways for your driver's license and for your insurance and for grants that you're applying for or loans that you're applying for or credit cards that you're, like, you already do this. What the hell's wrong with just doing the same thing for your voter ID? It makes no sense. That was brought up, by the way, and I'm sure you've heard this or you'll enjoy this from CNN when Scott Jennings was just calling them out for how bad they're going after this.
There are so many civil rights organizations that have run the data. If we look at the way that it is going to disenfranchise black voters, it's the same reason why Chuck Schumer called it Jim Crow 2.0.
So
this is the same president. If we want to continue...
You haven't said how yet.
I am talking about it. It's the way that you're putting new poll taxes on this when you're making people have... That's what we can call them now. It's kind of an idiom, right? If you want to say that people have to prove that they are citizens, that they have to prove with a voter ID, the reality is you're layering what is a constitutional right for the American people and making it harder for people to vote in this country, and it's going to disenfranchise black voters.
I mean, so insane, man. I smell the desperation because this is, I don't know why they're so against it other than they could lose a very large portion of their voter base if this actually happens.
Well, exactly. And what this comes down to is illegals. And what you'll hear is the argument over and over again that there are very few proven cases of illegals voting in elections. Now, I live in California, so I want to explain how stupid and how this works and how diabolical and what a lie it is. So, let's use another example. So you have to be 21 years old to buy alcohol, right?
Okay.
So if that's law, but when you go into a liquor store or a grocery store and the people aren't required to check that ID to prove that you're 21, well, you have no way of knowing how many underage people are buying alcohol. That's what happens in states like California. So you can say, yeah, there is a federal law in the books that says you have to be a citizen to vote. But we have motor voter registration, for example, and it's all just basically Scout's honor. You can check a box and say you're a citizen, and they don't check or follow up. So you're automatically registered to vote when you get a driver's license, but you don't have to be a citizen to get a driver's license, right? So therefore, you have a fundamental underlying problem, which is if you don't have to prove your citizenship to get the document to vote in the first place, then there's no way of knowing how many illegals are voting in elections. And these few cases come about because someone turns themselves in, or, some cop happened to be outside or at the liquor store and they say, how old are you? And so that's one instance. But you're ignoring the millions of other examples of illegals actually voting. So, that's why they're fighting this tooth and nail. What do you think the 20 million illegals coming in here over 4 years was about?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's absolutely insane. So let's go to where we're at right now. We passed it in the House of Representatives. One Democrat supporting it. It goes over to the Senate. I made the mistake, and a good mistake, I guess, yesterday saying that we need the 60-vote threshold for the filibuster. Apparently, we don't. It's not a procedural vote, so therefore we don't need the filibuster. We just need a basic, simple majority in order to pass this. I mean, should it be common sense? Are we going to see a unified Republican Party actually vote on this in the Senate and get it to the president's desk, do you think?
We're so close. I mean, the pressure is on these Republicans like Murkowski in Alaska, Mitch McConnell. I mean, the usual suspects are the ones holding out, and it's so insane that they would hold out. I mean, which shows you that they're not in alignment and don't care about their constituents. But I have this feeling that we're going to get there. I mean, this has been a long battle, and this is one of those few things where we're getting closer and closer. A lot of times there's stalemates. It's a lot of discouraging stuff, but I think I don't know where Fetterman lies on this. I mean, Fetterman supports it, right? So isn't that a Democrat vote that we have?
Yeah, I would think so. And yeah, I don't know why it would be such a difficult thing to kind of whip the votes on this. I mean, obviously all the polls show it. Again, over 80% of Americans, Republicans, Democrats alike, 78% of Democrats themselves say they support voter ID. This should be a slam dunk. I'm really kind of frustrated that we're just sitting here after the House passed it a day or two ago, why we haven't already passed it in the Senate and said, let's rubber stamp this, let's get it to the president, and we can use that for the midterm season when Republicans have been criticized for not getting a whole lot done and codifying the Trump agenda.
Yeah. Well, and what it tells you is these people want to sabotage, midterms. Republicans want to sabotage midterms. And I just, the only thing that they fear is losing power. And so, that's why this pressure campaign's on. I just saw that, Donald Trump, he just came out and said, look, if you guys don't pass this, I'm gonna, use an executive order or whatever else. So he's really trying to get these people to just get together, unify, and get this passed. And, that's the only point that matters. This is, and here's the message that these Republicans should be screaming is that, look, we are so divided, so partisan, it's so bitter in the political context today in America, this climate. And this is like a unicorn.
Yeah.
A vast majority of Democrats, Independents, and Republicans all support this. Let's come together and let's do the will of the people. And that's the point, too. These Democrat senators that are holding out, their own constituents support it. So they're defying the elections.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they're not going to get any repercussions, are they? I mean, Democrats don't hold their elected officials accountable like Republicans try to do when we get really angry and try to topple out an incumbent in there. Democrats think that they can sway their voters into believing their way, and I think that's delusional, but I don't know that Democrats are really going to hold their voters, their people accountable and say, I'm not going to vote you back in.
No, Democrats would never do this. Never do that. They don't hold them, accountable. They can change their mind on the abortion issue or gay marriage or, an open border, and they just go along with it because they worship the altar of power. They don't believe in transcendent power like we do.
Is that why the party's gone so radical? Why we see the AOCs and why we see the Ilhan Omars is because even though that doesn't reflect the base of the Democrat voters, they don't stop to say, wait a second, don't go that far. We don't want that. Is that why they've been allowed to?
Yeah, that's exactly why. It's a foundational mental difference between the conservative and the leftist. And if our politicians were going a direction on abortion towards infanticide like the left, they can't do it. We hold them accountable. But yeah, the Democrat voters downstream from their politicians. So for them, the Democrat position can be whatever. They're just going to go along with it. And they're blind. They have blind loyalty, and they try to project that on us. But we're not anything close to that.
No, not at all. We're talking with Drew Thomas Allen. Drew Allen Show podcast. Also for Christ in Country is the book. You can find it on Amazon, other places as well. We got just about a minute before we take a break here, Drew, but real quick speculation. Government shutdown by the end of today, whether they pass Department of Homeland Security funding. What's the conversation look like? Are we going to see the government shut down again for a while?
Yeah, I expect a shutdown again. I mean, they keep playing this game with us, and it's still outrageous that they do it, but I don't think there's enough pressure for them not to do it. They've done it before, and I think they're going to do it again. That's the only leverage the Democrats feel like they have, is to try and shut down and then blame Republicans. That's going to be their midterm strategy too.
That's so wild. And again, I mean, they did it in October, the longest shutdown in American history, 45 days into October, November. They got nothing out of it. They lost all credibility for having the political power they said they had. Now they're going to try and do it again. And like you said, do it on issues that are overwhelmingly in support of actually funding. They've gone as radical as hearing in these committee hearings that they want to defund ICE and abolish the entire agency. That's not a popular position. Some people may want some reforms, but to abolish it completely, absolutely insane. And they're holding the radical fringe to shut down the government. Very strange. Drew, hang on the line. Got to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about the state of affairs going into election season and the momentum that one side or the other may have. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Big government is broken. Every year, politicians fail to pass a budget as the deficit continues to grow. Every month, unelected bureaucrats pile on rules no one voted for, strangling our economy. And every day, DC's broken system gets in the way of the American dream. Washington isn't working, and the people pay the price. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe it's time to fix the system. Now, join the movement to make government work.
Oh, hey, sorry, I was just enjoying one of my snacks during the break. You know, it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives, but I'm here to tell you that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, truth, reason, common sense is what we do here on the show each and every day, especially on a Friday the 13th, the Triskaidekaphobia Day, even though that's the fear of the number 13. I don't care. It's really fun to say, so welcome into it. Have no fear. The Voice of Reason is here. And I want to tell you about my friends over at Americans for Prosperity. As you know, as we talk about these policy issues, along with the SAVE Act, along with funding for DHS that we'll get back to in just a minute. Also, Congress is supposedly working on some health care reforms, and we need to make sure they do so. And our friends over at Americans for Prosperity are working hard to let you know about how to put pressure on your elected officials to do some major health care reforms and give you more health care options. Options for yourself, for your family, for your household, for your business. It does not matter. We want more options. That's like not Obamacare, but private options. So go to personaloption.com. Personaloption.com. Sign up. It's completely free. Stay on top of what's going on with healthcare reform in the nation, what kind of healthcare and health insurance options you can have, and what Congress is working on right now with personaloption.com. All right, real quickly, we got Drew Allen here. For Christ and Country is his book. You can find it on Amazon. Also, the Drew Allen Show podcast. We have a couple minutes before we get back to the politics. It's a Friday. It's Friday the 13th. It's a weird day anyways. I got to do this.
Weird news of the day.
Yeah, all right. Drew, I got to ask you, we have a new movie coming out in June, I believe, from Steven Spielberg it's called Disclosure Day, and disclosure about ETs, higher technology, in contact with other realms or other worlds or whatever. I keep hearing rumors and tweets that we're going to have an announcement from the Trump administration, and if anybody else is going to do it, it would be Donald Trump, to announce the existence of ETs. Along with that, we have the dump of the Epstein files. We have hat tip to Anna Paulina Luna, Congresswoman from Florida, who's been working really hard in pushing the SAVE Act from the House side. She's also on the Transparency Task Force for all these types of deals. Do you think we're in the true age of disclosure, not just for ETs, but just government secrets in general, that we're finally going to start getting some answers on?
Man, that's a loaded question to throw at me. You got the Epstein people out there that think that that's a big cover-up still and blah, blah, blah. So there's plenty of people who say there's no government disclosure. Nothing's changed. Yeah, we have had some disclosures. I just, I would love to see proof of extraterrestrials, I'd like to be a believer, but man, we've had this conversation on the air like a year or two ago, and you know, you were trying to bring me over, and I don't know, man. I mean, my wife's the one who told me about this stuff. You know, you're the second person who's mentioned this possible disclosure coming from Trump. And I was like, "You're making that up. What kind of garbage are you watching on Instagram Reels?" You know.
Okay.
But now you've said it.
Well, here's the thing. I've heard from there's allegedly, now whether they're AI videos or not, that's to be determined. But supposedly there have been some officials that say that Trump in July is going to make an announcement. And look, I don't know whether that's going to happen or not. But what I will say is that if it were to happen, theoretically, the stars have aligned for it perfectly to happen. We're in this time where people already kind of know. We're just waiting for the government to admit it. So we're already prepped ourselves to the point of actually believing it enough to just have the government admit it and say, yeah, you know what, it's really happening. We just didn't want to scare you with it. And, you know, here's what's going on. The stars have aligned on that front. The Age of Disclosure documentary that came out a few months ago, if you've not seen that, highly recommend you see it because now elected officials are talking about it. It's on Amazon. Absolutely amazing. I bought it. And at the same time, we have Donald Trump who's trying to build a legacy, and his ego, if he has an opportunity to be the first major world leader to admit it and to prove it, that's the egotistical kind of guy that would actually make it happen. So I think, personally, if it is true, the stars have aligned for it to happen and happen sometime under a Trump administration.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he would be the only one to do that for sure. And, I mean, you know, any explanation whatsoever, you know, just explain Area 51 to me, all right? Disclose documents from Area 51.
Yeah.
You know, I saw the movie Independence Day when I was a kid, you know, back at the height of Will Smith's fame. It's one of my favorite movies as a kid. Is that happening? Someone tell me. And I want a tour. I want Area 51 open to at least me and you. We'll go do a special series on it.
We'll do a special series. We'll live stream. We'll video live stream down there in Area 51 and see all the crazy government experiments going on down there. I'm telling you, I am optimistic. I'm always the eternal optimist, but I am optimistic this is going to happen. I want it to happen so badly, and I think enough information's out there that they cannot hide it any longer, and Trump's the guy to do it. He's not beholden to some of these companies and places that may be keeping a lot of these secrets. We're out of time, my friend. I love it. Go check it out. Drew Allen Show podcast, also his book, For Christ and Country. Find it on Amazon, other places. Drew, always good to talk to you, my friend. Happy Friday the 13th. Go and enjoy the weekend. Happy Valentine's Day to you and the family.
You too. Thanks, brother. Talk soon.
Always a great choice. I love it. Drew Allen, go check him out. All the great stuff he's doing. Really cool stuff. We'll get him back on the show again real soon. Back at it again on Monday. Until then, we also have our big show this weekend. Do not miss it. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change. It's the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Bye.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely